pigeon fanciers, I'm just going to make a little video because it's pointless trying to talk about it on the internet because you can't really get your point across and get any information on there. It's all sound bites, in my opinion, of course. And this one, I'm going to try and give you a little tip so that you can stop your pigeons going off the legs or the ends not laying properly because they aren't getting enough calcium. So, what is it in the first place? Calcium, yeah, is a micronutrient and they need plenty of it, especially when molting, because that's what they make the feathers with, and when breeding, and that's when obviously they're making the eggshells and they need the calcium carbonate to be able to make the eggshells. If they don't get that, they'll pull it out the bones, and that's why they go off the legs. It's another reason why babies, squabs, squeakers, call them what you like, get splayed legs in nests. And I know it can be down to, as well, only single reared young ones when the parents sit on them too tight and squash them and they can't get a grip. But mainly if they have plenty of calcium in them, and more importantly plenty of vitamin D and D3, which modulates the calcium, because it's alright giving them the calcium, but if you don't give them vitamin D3, which is normally got naturally by the sunlight, because it's the UVB in the sunlight that modulates the calcium. So you can give them as much calcium as you like, but they won't absorb it into the bones if you don't give them vitamin D3 or they get plenty of sunlight. So hence why, if you've got pigeons in the loft all the time, especially over winter, they don't get any sunlight, which means when you come to breed them, they haven't got any calcium in there or the ability to absorb the calcium, which makes them, then the ends go off the legs. There's a simple way and a simple supplement that you can make, and no, it's not going to cost you any money. It's cheap as chips. In fact, you can recycle it if you really wanted to, but I'll explain that. I'll try and show you how easy it is to make and how to give it to them, and then you won't have any problems with lack of calcium anymore. So we'll do that, and I'll go and show you what it is and how easy it to do. But spoiler alert, it's dead easy. Crushed eggshells, and so that you don't have to give them it, because they always say, how can you give them it on the corn? Yeah, I do that sometimes, but there's an easier way of doing it, especially if you're already giving them cider vinegar, which nowadays most people do. You can mix it with the cider vinegar, and then you can just put it in as normal in your cider vinegar in your water, but also you're giving them calcium as well. But don't forget, the most important thing is to get some sunlight, and if they aren't getting sunlight because you're locking them in all winter and they're not out in daylight, to get that vitamin D from the UVB from the sun, then you won't get the absorption in them, and you can give them calcium, and they can have access to calcium. Another reason as well is when they're feeding young birds, you'll find they're gorge themselves on grit if they haven't got enough calcium stores in the body. So I'll try and show you the best I can on how to make it. And apology for looking at my face because I'm not used to doing this. So here we go, I'll start doing this for you. Right, I hope you can see alright, because I can't, but this is what you'll need, which is a couple of hen's eggs. You can use your pigeon eggs actually rather than throw them out. I've done that before when you're putting them on dummy eggs. So you need some of them. All you do is crush them up with it into a Pyrex or whatever you want to call it bowl, just to make them, better pick them bits up, we don't want them dropping on the floor. Right, into a small, just crush them up a little bit, you see that? And then what you do is stick them in the microwave for 2 minutes, and you let it get on with it. after we have been in the microwave for 2 minutes, and bearing in mind it'll be hot, so be careful, don't burn yourself. Oh yeah, the reason why we do this is because it kills all the bacteria on it and bakes the eggshells so that they're really, really brittle and will powder up nice and easily. Now, you can just put them in and breaking them as small as you can do, like that, with what they're like there, and leave them, but they'll take some time to dissolve, because it's the reaction between the acid in the vinegar and the alkaline in the calcium, which then causes a reaction which will make it, the acid absorb it, so it will dissolve into it, and the smaller it is the better, and the quick, well, for speed reasons. So as a cheat I always do one of these coffee grinders, place it in there like that, move that out of the way, put that one there, and then just now you can tell when it's powdered because it all sticks round the top, and then I don't know whether you can see that, but it's near enough, it'll do. So just turn that off from there. So what we can do with that is put that into there. Bearing in mind you saw there was only 2 eggshells. That's all you need. You don't need to put too much in, because for the simple reason too much is just as bad as too little. So it's about 1,000 milligrams for a human being, which is half an eggshell. So by the time you've done that, really you want to get that in about 2 pints of cider vinegar. But for this experiment I'll just show you how we do it. And then what you do is you pour it into here, and you'll find you get a reaction. Now, I don't know whether you can see that or not, but if you can, like I say, I'm no film expert, I'm not used to doing this, and you see how it's changing colour. That's because, can you see the reaction in there? I don't know whether you can or not. It's fizzing up, bubbling up, and the calcium is getting absorbed into the eggshells, or the eggshells are getting into the acid, into the cider vinegar. And then as that fizzes up, it'll settle down after a bit. Keep adding more and more cider vinegar. If you put too much in at once, it'll be, you've seen them things on videos with the Coke bottles when they explode. Well, that's what happens, and that's why, until it's settled down and totally absorbed, don't seal the glass jar, otherwise it'll explode. Okay, so you get the idea there. It's starting to do the chemical process to absorb it. Just keep adding some more in, give it a quick stir around. And then it'll keep doing that. I know that's a bit boring for you to watch, so I'll pause it there and I'll get back to you. So there you have it, it's getting there. Just keep giving it a stir every now and again. You're best off leaving it overnight so that it dissolves properly, and then the next day I'll show you what to do in a minute. So yeah, leave that overnight and then we'll come back to it. This is just so you can see the chemical reaction, what's taking place. Once it calms down and stopped and it's all absorbed, like I say, usually overnight, then it's ready to use. Right, here we are again, 24 hours later. I'm going to show you what to do now, and that I've kept overnight, as I said last night or yesterday, and I covered it up with a bit of kitchen roll, elastic band, to stop any bugs getting into it over the night, because flies love it, and so you've got to keep them out. It can still breathe, so it won't explode, so that's the reason for that. It's just another idea. Right, what you're going to need: sieve and a Pyrex dish again, and then what we're going to do is sieve it. And the other thing we need is some cloth, some very fine mesh cloth, and we can put that in there and let it go through with a bit of luck, and try and keep that out of there. Put that in there, put that over there, and what we'll do, give it a quick stir just to get the little bits all in it. And as you can see, it's stopped fizzing and settled down like I said it would. So you can put that on there, and then we take this and we pour it through the gauze, for want of a better word. So we'll just do that much so far. And this just takes out any bits of eggshell that haven't dissolved or anything from the process. Hold that up there, squish it out. You can see it's going through there now. And anything that hasn't dissolved will stay in there. Take that out of there. And then what we can do, we shall put it into just a measuring jug. And then we can do it again. That's just to show you what's come out of it. It would help if I put the sieve in one. Let's have a look. So put all that through again. Try and do it without making a mess. Squeeze it through. Just gets rid of all the bits out of it, so it's nice and clean. Right, and again. Put that over there, so got that. And we do that in there. And then what I do, you notice it's a cider vinegar bottle, but it's the cheap one from Aldi, which hasn't got the mother in it, but that's not the one I'm using. To be honest, that's because my wife doesn't like it with the bits in, so I just nick the bottles. I think on the last video as well I said 2 pints. Well, obviously it's not 2 pints because it is only, let's have a look, 500 millilitres. So there we go, and there's your tonic with calcium. By the way, it's good for humans as well, but if I was doing it for humans, I'd put a few more eggshells in it, because obviously we're bigger than a pigeon, so it needs to be weaker for the pigeons, because you don't want to overload them. So there you go, one tonic for your pigeons to give them calcium. And all you do with that is, when they're breeding, I would give it twice a week in the water, 5 mils, you know, a little teaspoon per litre. So in one of your 2 litre, which my drinkers are, then it's 2 teaspoons, and twice a week while they're breeding and while they're molting, and just to keep them right during when they're not under stress, apart from just general use, just once a week in the water like you would with cider vinegar. Although I don't know, some people might do it more, but that's all I give it to them. So I hope that's been helpful, and I'll leave it there.